It is 4 o'clock by my clock. On Sundays at 4 o'clock, we do something incredible. We wear our business blouses or business attire, and then we do administration. That is Sunday 4 o'clock. If you're interested in scoring 100% on your audit scores, you have to carve out a time when you audit yourself. So I personally, Sundays 4 p.m., the clock says 4 p.m. Never mind, I adjusted it to say 4 p.m. because it's actually not 4 p.m. But every Sunday at 4 p.m., what you do is you do your own self-audit and you do your administration, because you've already conquered the week. You've conquered Monday to Friday. Saturday, you began to tone down and feel that, distressing, because now Monday to Friday, there's a little bit of distance beyond that. And then on Sunday, you're truly free from the stressors, but now Monday is coming, so the anxiety is beginning to go up. So, in group homes, we're always managing for potential audits. So the best thing to do if you want a week that's just emotionally comfortable is to do your own audits on Sunday at 4 p.m. So we're going to go over 3 files. There's the quality management file. We are going to go over the personnel file, and we're also going to go over a resident admission file. I can't show you the front because I flipped around because it's an actual resident file, former resident file. So we're going to go through these files and we're going to audit them. And what I want you to do is take a notebook and paper if you need to. If you know these things by heart, good for you, but create the habit of auditing your business every Sunday at 4 p.m. because you're relaxed. You've already relaxed throughout the whole of Sunday early afternoon, Sunday morning. You've had your Saturday to you. So now on Sunday, you want to start, getting your mind back in the game so you can have a powerful week without all that anxiety and all that stress. If you're brand new to this channel, my name is Nkatha. I am an individual, a woman, an individual who has been in the group home, the what we call residential facility industry for the last 6 years. I used to average at about $250,000 per year gross revenue. When you did, of course, expenses, it was like $249,000. Anyway, and I've been in healthcare for the last, I believe, 20 years. I had a long-spanning sales career with Fortune 100 companies to Fortune 500 companies, Novartis, GlaxoSmithKline, and AbbVie. I've had my highs and lows. I have failed again, failed some more. And right now, I'm rising from total financial failure. I've just been sharing on this channel that a few days ago, my finances were at $1.46, but I'm crafting my way at an accelerated rate all the way to the millions, because if you know how to create 250,000, if you quadruple your speed and your effort and you leverage your knowledge and your technical skills, you can get to 1 million. But what I do for you, my role in your life is to help you thaw out from all that emotional gunk that keeps you stuck and rooted in the life that you have rather than the life that you want. And this is not a money kind of channel. This is just a simple channel where I encourage you that you are, first of all, whole, perfect, and complete. You're amazing. And that's a concept that I borrowed from my personal development classes that I used to attend for 12 years. And then what I discovered, that the bridge between the poorlies, I don't even use the word poor because I know you have a relationship with the word poor, so I use the word poorly. So the difference between the poorlies and being in a space of abundance, and I know you have a relationship with the word abundance, so I use the word bounties. So the bounties is really abundance. To me, from my experience, having the technical skills, being highly trained in business strategy and sales and marketing, and then of course I bring in that 20-year kind of experience in healthcare, having worked in grassroots programs, having worked in the pharmaceutical industry in top markets like LA and in Manhattan, New York, woohoo! And here where I am right now in Arizona, I feel the difference between the two, especially for us, the poorlies who don't have that kind of support or that kind of financial backing. What we have is our emotional strength. So my role in this channel and what I try and do for you is hold space for you to thaw out all of that emotional stuff that keeps you stunted and rooted, which I believe will then allow all your creativity to come to the top. Then you can leverage on your technical skills and then, slap on some good sales and marketing in there and some really great solid business strategies. And then you can create your businesses and fly off into the millions, and then you can retire me. So I speak through the channel of Sananga Care Homes, which was the name of my behavioral health residential facility, which I owned for about 4 years plus, going on to 5 years. And all of my healthcare experience comes from my lifetime of participation in healthcare. But I'm all about you because you remind me of you, and I've chosen you. So today we are talking about our files. So every time you establish a group home, there are a number of files that you're going to have. One of the main files that you use to manage your group home is quality management files. This file is a part of the regulations and the statutes that govern your having of a group home. So whenever it is that you own a group home, there are always going to be rules and regulations of how you should run and manage it. I use the example of a group home is a small clinic on steroids. The demands and the expectations, clinical expectations, just feel so much bigger than what you would expect in a residential facility, but that's the way it is. So in this video, what I'm going to talk to you is about auditing your files, especially on Sunday at 4 p.m. because what you don't want to do is have that anxiety of not knowing, that anxiety of thinking the inspector can walk into your facility, to your group home at any point in time during the day and you're not ready. So one of the files we'll be talking about today is quality management. You're going to hear what's in the quality management file and how best to audit it. We are then going to talk about your personnel file. Your personnel file includes all of your volunteers coming to your facility, all of your employees. In the behavioral health world, we call them behavioral health technicians. In the assisted living world, we call you a caregiver. In the DDD world, we call you a DSP, a direct service professional. DDD is developmentally delayed and disabled, or IDD, intellectual disability. So depending on whatever state you are in, I encourage you to audit your files every Sunday at 4 p.m. And then the last file we'll be auditing is a resident file. We'll just be going through what are the key documents, what you have to look for. So this video will be lengthy because it's education and training. And what I'm training you here is to self-audit. So when you start your week on Monday, you know your files are good, they're looking good, they're ready to go, and you don't have to live in the fear that the inspector will come in and your documents are not in order. And because we're looking at 3 files, it should probably be one video per each file. I might break it up, I don't know. Just go, take your time, take a pen and paper, and then as we go through each file, you can just note the key things. Now, I also run a class called the Behavioral Health Business Masterclass. That class is geared towards training your behaviors as an entrepreneur and upgrading your behaviors, your behavioral patterns, therefore your behavioral health as an entrepreneur. But it also covers in bulk establishing a behavioral health facility. So whatever state you are in, if you want to come into the field of behavioral health, some call it mental health, some call it, the world of working with people in individuals with intellectual disabilities, that is a class you would take. If you're interested in developing an assisted living facility wherever you are in the world, and I look at the statistics and I'm so happy to hear assisted living facilities are growing, then you would take my Zero to Hero program. If you are on one of these two facilities or you need consultative help, there's a little tab there called Kabenge Express. Kabenge is the name I named my car. It's called Kabenge because it's just Kabenge, it's just, you know, tin, like old tin. It has 227,000 miles and that car is still running. And I bought it at $1,800 and it got me to 1.4 million over 53 months, which means sometimes you can have some old and goldie things that are working for you. So I have Kabenge Express, which is really my consulting part of what I do. So I can come into your company, I can come and consult with you, whatever it is you need. So you can always go there and order a consultative hour, a consultative session. If you're listening to me and you either own or are C-suite level with a managed care organization, or you are C-suite level or director level of a Medicaid, Medicare plan, and you need me to come and audit you because you know you need my auditing, because quite frankly, a lot of what you do is not provider friendly. And because it's not provider friendly and it's too complicated, it holds back your revenue because people can't navigate your sites as fast as they need to do. I consult for you in the millions. Your price tag is in the millions because the work I'll do for you as a managed care organization or as a governmental body or as a TRIBWA, a tribal regional health authority, and the way I'll help you customize and make your website user-friendly, please, for your customers, a provider, will be able to help you, you know, generate back revenues, because I know your primary concern is increasing the price per share earnings, of course, you know, shareholder value and all of that good stuff. So wherever you are, whether you're a managed care organization, you're a governmental agency, or whether you're an individual, or whether you're an aspiring provider, this channel, Sananga Care Homes, is for you. So I'm going to give you a minute to go get your pen and paper, and then we'll do the intensive work of self-auditing. Put this appointment in your calendar. I'll be doing it every Sunday at 4 p.m. and over and over and over again until you memorize it and you become so good so that just like me, you can score 100% on your audits with your managed care organizations, right? So with your insurance companies. And when you score 100%, you know what that's saying about you? You've demonstrated 100% integrity with federal funds, which is the goal I want to get you to. So you get your pen and paper. I need to refill my cup here with water, and then we'll meet in a few minutes. Okay, we're back. Oh, I'm drinking some lovely hibiscus tea. Okay, we're ready? Okay, so let me put these two files aside and then let's get started. So when you own a facility, residential facility, you always have a quality management file. Some people call it facility file. The name doesn't really matter, the contents do. And this file, if you think about it, whenever you own, think about a big facility like a skilled nursing home. Somebody has to continually evaluate the feedback from the customers, which in this case would be the elderly who are seeking and enjoying and partaking of the assisted living facilities. And the behavioral group home, it would be your residents or what we call members. So whenever you have some kind of a business or a facility, you always want to oversee how your facility is performing. Now, in the state of Arizona and in all other states, there are always timelines as to how quickly and how often you need to audit your facility. So by reading the articles that govern the type of business you are in, articles are laws, statutes, laws, basically when you read the laws that govern what you need to do for your particular facility, that is what is going to give you the timeline of when, what should be where at what time, how often you need to audit it, what kind of a report you need to make, and how you need to file that report, how often, and how long you need to keep that record. So that's what really quality management is about. It's about you auditing the business you're operating, maintaining those records as quickly and as often as is governed by the laws that are, governing your type of facility, and then also keeping those records for that period. Sometimes I repeat myself and I'm like, oh dear, menopause, be done. Anyway, so let us start. So the first thing you need to do with your quality managed file is to put it in tabs. The reason you always want to tab out your file is you don't want the inspector sitting in your home for 12 hours. If they can't find information, they will be in your home for 12 hours. 12 hours, by the way, is exaggerated, maybe 4 to 5 hours. So what you want to do is you always want to tab out the various documents that you're filing. So the first thing I'm going to do is go through the tabs. So in my file, the first tab is the menus. The weekly menus. That's what I call the first tab. So tab number 1, color-coded yellow, weekly menus. Tab number 2 is work schedules. Color-coded orange, work schedules. Tab number 3 is disaster and emergency drill. Color-coded drill, disaster and emergency drill. Fourth tab is weekly activities, okay? So weekly activities, color-coded pink. Fifth tab is visitor sign-in sheet and the resident sign-in sheet, sign-in, sign-out sheet, right? That is the tab in purple. And then behind it, I have the temperature logs. You know, the way we need to take the temperatures of the ACs and everything. So I have it over there. Then the blue tab is pest control, right? So pest control blue. This is like a turquoise color, I believe. This one, I put resident meeting notes, right? You have to meet with your residents and take notes about what they feel about the services you're providing. So mine is blue. This tab, I wrote incident reports, but this is not my incident file, so forget that. But I put here lab tests. Okay, so we have that. So now, the quality management file is not complicated. We're going to start with the first thing, which is your menus, right? Your menus. Whenever, in a residential facility, a behavioral health residential facility, you have to contract a registered dietitian. You could create your menu, but a registered dietitian has to sign the menus. You have to have a menu for each week, and the food varietals need to change. You could also, like in assisted livings, I see them doing that. You could also have another ancillary menu called a diabetic menu, or if somebody else has a special diagnosis, you could have another menu that caters to that diagnosis. In behavioral health, everybody's health was pretty similar. It's only 1 or 2 cases where I would have had to have a diabetic menu. But the thing to remember is your menus have to be signed off by a registered dietitian. You also, in your file, and we're going to look at that, I put it all in my employee and my contracts. You need to have a current contract with your registered dietitian. And a registered dietitian is somebody who has a master's degree, I believe, in nutrition. So you have to find them, you have to contract them. Usually those contracts are renewable on an annual basis. Mine used to charge $400, and I would pay the $400, and then I would have my signed and sealed original menus. I'd keep those in a separate file because I don't want anyone tampering with those. And then I'd make a copy of the menus, and then every week I would keep changing out the menus, or my staff members would keep changing out the menus. So that's what's there to know with the menus. Now, your articles will always say when you need to change out the menus. They usually, I believe, say a day before. I should have had my articles here. I don't have them here. I think they say a day before the menu date actually starts, right? So this menu of mine, I just created on an Excel document. I spaced it. I threw in all the foods I thought my residents would like. I created the menu. The registered dietitian could create one for you if you're not, creative with a menu and everything. And that's what the menu says. So I have breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then as per the articles, you're required to have 2 snacks as well. So I just list what's available for the snacks, right? I think they're supposed to have 3 meals and 2 snacks within 16 waking hours. Now, make sure that you date it correctly. And one tip I'd give you, like what I did is, and I'll show you this later, like on my pantry door, that's where I would post my menus, and I would post menus for the whole month. So this week, like I'll have the menu for this week, behind it I'll have the menu for the next week, behind it I'll have the menu for the next week, and then behind it I'd have the menu of the next week, so that life is easy for the staff members. They can just do this on Sunday at 4 p.m. and we are good to go. Once that month finishes, I take the collection of menus and make sure they're punched, and then I file them. And that's how that is done. One pet peeve I have is staff members, BHT caregivers, this is for you. If this is the menu and this is the file, and the file is like this, right? Punch the papers to sit like this. Do not punch the papers to sit like this, because nobody reads the file like this. Okay, caregivers, BHTs, punch the papers like this. And make sure you use the end of the punch that stop gaps the paper to measure where the holes would be. Because the worst thing to do is to have a file that has dog ears, meaning the papers are like this. Staff members, I know you, pet peeve of mine. You punch these papers with so much anger, they're like this. Please don't punch papers like that. Punch according to the way someone would read them. So you're punching at the top so that the papers can sit like this and they can be filed. Please just don't misfile documents. Help us, right? Okay, so that's done, okay? So we finished with the yellow tab, which is menus. These tabs, by the way, I buy from Walmart. You could possibly get them from Amazon, right? All right. Second tab, or you could get them from my Amazon store, and I'll include a link. Second tab would be the schedule, right? So second tab is a schedule. Mine was color-coded orange. So here is my schedule for my facility. And I would put it like my 2 shifts were 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., then 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., so 12-hour shifts. And then one thing you always have to make sure with a schedule is you must put your nurse and clinical supervisors' names and phone number as on call. Otherwise, you'll get a compliance ticket. So you write your menu, shift 1, shift 2, name of your clinical supervisor and phone number, name of your registered nurse and phone number. Just like the menus, I used to do the same thing. I used to create schedules for 4 weeks. I used to make sure they're dated correctly and they're in the right year. Then I would pin them up or put them in that thing. And then every week, all my staff members need to do was keep changing it. After the month was finished, we would all file the schedules like that, and that kept that compliant. You never want to have people that are not really on the schedule, because if an incident happens, this is why they tell us to file the schedules. The state will come and see who was on the schedule, aka who was responsible. So all y'all naughty people, be careful about putting people's names on the schedule. A schedule pretty much holds the people you're putting on the schedule responsible for that point in time. And if an incident happens that requires, I don't know, police intervention or is something beyond scale, and if someone's name's there, you can jeopardize somebody's name because they don't know they're on schedule and you are putting their name on schedule. Stop being naughty. You can incriminate someone's life without knowing it, and it's not fair to them. So don't be naughty. Just do things with integrity, okay? Now, third thing I have was my disaster and emergency drill. Now, when it comes to the disaster and emergency drill, disaster and evacuation drill, Uh, the disaster drill. I keep confusing this information and I need to go and get my file so I can read my notes, but there's a significant difference between a disaster drill and an emergency drill, and I'll clarify this in another video because I can't remember on top of my head, and I don't have my file here with the article, so I can't clarify that for you. But one of them is done once every 3 months. The other one is done once every 6 months. One of them is done with residents. The other one is staff members only. I can't tell which is which, and I don't want to confuse you and give you the wrong information, but I will create a separate video on that titled Disaster and Emergency Drills. What's there for you to remember is one of them is done once every 3 months. One of them is done once every 6 months. One of them is done per shift, and another one is done with staff members only, and another one is done with staff members and residents. That's what there is to remember. And there are certain laws that govern how often you should do them, and how often you should file them, and how often you need to retain the records. When I got a new resident, I always did with the entire house an emergency drill. Why? Because whenever a new resident comes into your home, you have to do an emergency drill within the first 24 hours. So to be compliant with that part of their resident admission file, whenever a new resident came into the house, I would just make sure that I conduct an emergency drill in both shifts, shift 1 and shift 2, and record it. That's what that here is. Now, you'll notice with my file, I also put post-it notes. This is all about making life easy for the inspector. If the inspector comes and your file is organized, yay to you. All right, let's go to the pink tab. Okay, so this one was for disaster and emergency drills. Okay, now let's go to your weekly activities, right? I think it's emergency that's done week 2. Weekly activities. Every week, you have to record the activities that the residents did, because your state doesn't want to think that you're keeping your people there like roast potatoes. Your peoples need to do activities. It's also good for their mind. It's a part of the therapy. It's something that you're paid for, right? Activities. So what I used to do, I used to go to Word, like Word, your regular Word, and then I go to the calendar, and then I print out an empty calendar. And I would print them out for the whole year so that my staff members are not fumbling to find the next empty calendar. Now, once you have a calendar, let's say like this one for the month, this was October 2024. You want to keep the original empty calendars in your folder, and then at the new month, beginning of a new month, your staff members can pick one and then fill out the activities for an entire month. Once that month is full, they take it and they file it. So I just used to print out an empty monthly calendar, and then maybe I would change this font to make it bigger. Sometimes I could write Sananga Care Homes. It doesn't really matter, but you have to have an activity sheet. So some of the activities we did in Sananga Care Homes, there was a Bible study going on over the weekends. By the way, religious classes are not compulsory. The law keeps changing about this, but if someone wants to pursue a certain faith, they're welcome to. We used to bake cupcakes, we used to go gardening, we used to go for community walks, we used to go to the park and have picnics, we used to exercise, we used to do art and crafts, like I'd buy all these little canvases and we had paints in the house and they would paint. We used to do trips to the grocery store. Walmart is close to here. We used to clean up together. We used to take a trip to Copper Sky, which has a lake. We used to do fun laundry, where I teach them how to fold those towels, like spa towels. We used to do like needlework, of course with supervision. We used to make different meals, like pizzas and things like that. We used to have like a fun chore day where we just blast music. We have different hits, we dance to them. And then we do all the chores, or like a really deep spring cleaning of the house. We used to have movie nights. Then we used to have photo shoots. We'd bring in a camera or two and we'd just have a photo shoot outside the house where residents would get to dress up, and we'd do like a professional photo shoot, and then of course talk about resume building and all that. And then of course this was October, so I bought everyone costumes, and Pakana Park in Maricopa used to have a huge Halloween festival, and I would take a stand, get lots of candy, and then my residents would dress in their Halloween costumes, and we would go out and just enjoy with the 6,000 children in Maricopa. I'm like, where are all you children coming from? So that's right there. Have some fun activities. We also used to polish our nails. I used to go to the dollar store, buy nail polishes, keep them in a like a shoebox. Of course, always keep them locked. And then I'd whip out the nail polishes and we'd just have fun with the boys and the girls. Now, there's something else also you need to keep track of. That's your temperature log. You have to keep track of the thermometer in your fridge, and you also have to keep track of the thermometer in your deep freezer. They say in the articles that that thermometer needs to be kept in the warmest place, and that temperature needs to be tracked daily. On my sheet, I also added the temperature of the ACs because my house is 4-bedroomed and 3 different parts of the house have 3 different ACs. So you need to know the temperature of your facility at all times. My staff and I, we used to record the temperature daily. So I had 2 fridges and 1 deep freezer and then 3 thermostats. So I had like 6 lines, and then we would record the temperature. Temperature in your fridge always needs to be 41 degrees Fahrenheit and below. Temperature in your deep freezer needs to be 0 and below. Your temperature in the house, in the rooms, is always 70 to 84 degrees. And then I believe the temperature for your water is 75 to 120. Don't hold me on that. I need to cross-check that. So I used to call this sheet the temperature logo. It couldn't fit on one page for the month, but this is generally what it used to look like. So I used to put it from the first day of the month to the last day of the month. I used to put it to 31 days, and then I'd put fridge 1, fridge 2, deep freezer, AC1, AC2, AC3. And that kept me compliant. And this sheet used to be updated daily. So on Sunday, you just want to make sure that the sheet is updated. And then at the close of the month, actually this sheet used to carry on for 3 months. So month number 1, month number 2, month number 3. So after 3 months, we file it. Thank God it was for 3 months. So this one was a little bit of the pain in the butt to do, but it was done. Okay. Pest control. Every time you do your pest control, you have to print out the document and you have to file it. Because pest control is a part of your compliance metric. So whenever it is that your pest control company comes, or if you have an upcoming appointment and the inspector comes before your upcoming appointment, because they'll always let you know, always have that documentation, save it. All right, pest control, your pesty pests, save it. So I saved mine and they're in the file and they were on time. This is the benefit of doing compliance on Sunday at 4, because if your pest control is not up to date, you'll see it because you have a tab, a blue tab called pest control. So make sure that's done correctly. And that was it. If there are any more things that I have forgotten, please write a comment below. What do you have in your quality management file? I'm curious to know. I think I'm gonna separate these videos so you're not so inundated and you can keep track of everything. And just to go over the file again, I started with, let me put it this way. I started with the menu tab. I have to remove my glasses because I can't see. I started with the weekly menu tab. Then the orange one was the weekly schedules. Then the red one was a disaster and emergency drills. Then it was the weekly activities. So all the activities my residents did. Then it was, oh, I forgot, the visitor sign-in sheet. Oops, I'm going to come to that. So that needs to be filed as well. That's also good for your insurance. Who's coming into your facility, who is going out. If a resident leaves, did a guardian, who picked them up, or was it transportation? You gotta record all that stuff. Or if they leave on their own volition because they can and then come out, you know, that needs to be there. Pest control, right? And then, no, the last one was incident report, but an incident report sign. Okay, let's talk about your sign in, sign out sheets. Those sheets are so important because sometimes your resident might leave. I know with DDD homes, sometimes they go out to see their family members. So you have to record. Sometimes they might step out for an appointment and medical transportation picks them up. They have to sign out. Sometimes their guardians will come in and pick them and they'll enjoy a few hours. You need to have all of that documented because of course healing is seeing family members. So make sure you have your resident sign in sheets. Did I have anything? Visitors like case managers, when they come to see the residents, sometimes it will not be a case manager, but I remember we used to get visitors from I think what it was called catalytic. So just other ancillary organizations that come in to support high-risk members. Sometimes it might be a probation officer. So always make sure you have a small reception table, right at your entrance. Of course, you don't want to block your emergency exit, where all your visitors or ancillary staff members like case managers, things like that, can come and sign in. And there's another important document that you need to have in your quality management file. It's your quality management report, which includes resident notes. Once, I believe every 12 months, I used to do mine once every 6 months just for safety. You have to sit down with your residents and evaluate your program. So you can use AI and prompt it and say, hello AI, hello ChatGPT, hello Claude, hey, I run a behavioral health facility or assisted living or DDD. Would you mind creating for me like 50 multiple choice questionnaire that I could distribute to my residents to read and answer and comment about how they feel this group home is working for them? Then you can sit down, have a meeting with all your residents and your staff members, and you need to document that and file it. I forget what the official name of that quality management report is. I did mine once every 6 months. I think the expectation is once every 12 months, and you need to write your feedback and recommendations. That's how I actually found out that I needed to change my menu, especially in the beginning when I had a lot of tribal members, and just gear it a little bit towards, some of the favorite meals that my tribal members loved. So make sure you do that and have that and file it. So that sums up our quality management audit. Remember, Sundays, 4 p.m. Get into the habit of doing it. Don't hate it. Don't skip it. It's what gets you to enjoy your week in peace because your documents are right. So I'm going to end this video here, and then I'm going to create another new video that will then talk about your personnel file. This file feeds the state. Because you don't audit it on your own, they come in, they find so many tickets. So we're going to talk about this file next. So go to my website, nkathakimathi.com. Sign up for the Behavioral Health Business Masterclass if that is the class you're looking for. Sign up for the Zero to Hero class if you're looking or interested in opening an assisted living facility. And if you wanted to hire my consulting services, you go to the tab that says Kabenga, because that Kabenga, that's the name of my car. All right, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next video where we'll be talking about the personnel file. Going off to get some water, getting thirsty.